Her location sharing app showed the same address every single day for 118 days. That address was not his office. Lauren had turned on location sharing 2 years earlier, back when Daniel's job kept him out past dark more nights than not. It was never about suspicion. It was about knowing he was safe on the long drive, home from job sites, scattered across the state. For most of that time, the blue dot on her phone did exactly what it was supposed to do. It moved from the house to the office, sometimes to a warehouse across town, occasionally to the gym on his way back. Daniel worked in commercial logistics, and unpredictable hours had always been part of the deal. So nothing about his schedule ever raised a flag in her mind. What changed was small enough that she almost missed it completely. In early spring, the blue dot stopped moving past 4 in the afternoon. Every day, around the same time, it settled onto a quiet residential street 19 minutes from their house and stayed there until almost 8. At first, Lauren noticed it the way anyone notices a pattern, not as alarm, just as something that kept repeating without explanation. She told herself it was probably a new client he was managing or a property under renovation, something forgettable. The pattern never broke. Not on the weekend he claimed to be catching up on paperwork. Not during the 1 week he told her he was at a logistics conference 3 states away. The dot stayed exactly where it always stayed, at exactly the time it always arrived. By day 40, Lauren had stopped inventing explanations. She started checking the app the way some people check the weather, almost out of habit, except the habit kept handing her the same answer every time. Once Daniel caught her looking at her phone longer than usual and asked what she was staring at, Lauren told him she was checking traffic for her own drive home. He nodded and never asked again, and after that, she made sure to check the app only when he wasn't in the room. By day 60, curiosity finally beat out restraint, and she zoomed in on the satellite view. It loaded a row of single-family homes with trimmed lawns and a basketball hoop bolted to one driveway. It looked nothing like a job site. It looked like the kind of neighborhood people choose when they plan on staying somewhere for a long time. Then the dates lined up in a way she couldn't unsee. The very first day, the address had appeared, matched almost exactly with the week Daniel told her his new contract had started. The same explanation he had used for every late night and every missed dinner since. She still didn't say anything. Instead, she did something Daniel never would have expected from her. She started writing the dates down quietly, the way someone builds a case file, instead of asking a question out loud. By day 90, a delivery notification she wasn't supposed to see popped up on their shared family tablet, addressed to a name that was almost his, but not quite, with a single letter change in the spelling. By day 100, the pattern finally had a shape in her mind, even though she still hadn't allowed herself to say the word out loud. On day 118, Lauren drove past the house herself, once, slow enough to see what she needed, and nothing more. There was a swing set in the backyard. 2 bicycles leaned against the garage door, one small enough for a child no older than 5. That single image was the moment the story stopped being about an affair and became something else entirely. Daniel hadn't been disappearing into someone else's apartment for an afternoon. He had built an entire second household with a second name on a second mortgage, raising a second family that had been growing quietly for years in a town 19 minutes away, while he came home every single night and asked what was for dinner. Lauren did not cry sitting in that car. She drove home, made dinner exactly the way she always did, and said absolutely nothing. What followed over the next 6 weeks was not an argument. It was preparation. Lauren contacted a family attorney using a friend's address on the intake form, so nothing would surface in any shared email or shared calendar Daniel might check. She quietly photographed financial statements she had every legal right to see, the kind he assumed she never looked at closely. When she finally found the deed online late one night after he had gone to bed, His name was spelled correctly this time. There was no mistake left to dismiss. The second house had been purchased 2 years earlier. The exact same year, the location sharing had first gone up between them. Daniel's double life had not happened by accident. It had been built carefully around the very trust he asked her for every single day. She kept living exactly as she always had. She packed his lunches. She asked how his day went. She let him believe the only thing that had changed between them was that he had simply gotten better at lying, when in reality, she had gotten far better at watching. Everything moved when he told her he needed a long weekend alone for work. Lauren already knew what that weekend actually was because a school newsletter she had requested as a routine formality listed a family event at an elementary school 19 minutes away, the kind of event a father rarely misses. She let him go without a single question. While Daniel was away, Lauren met with her attorney one final time and finalized everything they had built together over 6 weeks. On the same morning, 2 things happened at once. The first was a legal filing that froze every shared account before he could quietly move money the way men in his position usually try to. The second was a single photograph, the swing set, and the 2 bicycles, sent not to Daniel, but to the woman raising those children, with one short line attached. "I think you deserve to know everything I know." By the time Daniel came home from his long weekend, both of his lives had already collided without him in the room to manage either one. He never got the chance to choose which family to keep, because by then, there was nothing left for him to choose between. The second house was sold within the year. The marriage Lauren had spent so long quietly protecting ended just as carefully as it had been monitored, except this time she walked away with far more than she ever expected, because a paper trail of 118 identical afternoons does not look like jealousy in front of a judge. It looks like evidence. In 14 years, I have not heard a better description of how most of these stories actually end. If you have ever noticed a pattern you couldn't quite explain, you already know exactly how this one starts. Subscribe to True Files for the next case.